This is how you can certainly tell if you're with a narcissist. What's it like being with a narcissist? To put it simply, it's exhausting. It's like attempting to go grocery shopping while riding a stationary bicycle. You can go in circles forever without ever getting anywhere. The more you spin, the further you become from the truth. If you feel this way, it's because you believe you have to pay them for everything, even the air that you breathe. It's the sensation that you don't deserve to live. With the expectation that they won't notice, you begin to take shallow breaths. It's as though you've committed a grave sin if they catch you taking a breath from their atmosphere. You'll feel guilty just for taking a breath of their air. Sadly, it's hard for most people to even begin to grasp what kind of person they're living with, even though all the red flags are there. For various reasons, they are reluctant to label this person as a narcissist or to label their connection with them as narcissistic. One contributing component is contrasting the current relationship with those they've had in the past or with a healthy, non-narcissistic one. Even still, we tend to normalize narcissistic abuse. Everyone, how are you today? What does it look like to be with a narcissist? Throughout this video, we will learn everything there is to know about being in a narcissistic relationship. For the sake of clarity, we will also examine the 3 phases of the narcissistic relationship. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel before we get started by clicking the subscribe button and the bell button below. Let's dive right in. You may already be familiar with the 3 stages of the narcissistic relationship: idealization, devaluation, and discard. These 3 stages are the framework of a narcissistic relationship and are experienced by anyone in a relationship with a narcissist, albeit in varying degrees and orders. Firstly, you are treated like a princess. At first, they treat you like royalty, but eventually, they begin to treat you with less respect. They begin to treat you like trash, and then you actually get thrown out. So, this is what it's like to be with a narcissist, in a nutshell. Let's start with the idealization stage, also known as the love bombing stage, and get a thorough understanding of it so that everything becomes crystal clear. The narcissist gives you the nicest treatment imaginable. They always treat you with the utmost respect. In other words, they're kind people. In a word, they're endearing. As well as being physically present, they are also demonstrative of emotions such as love and care by providing physical displays of affection. Any pleasant thought is within your reach, and that is essentially what they are. Plus, they assess your requirements first and foremost. They understand your needs and expectations and develop into those things. Because you finally feel like you found the one you've been searching for. This is where I get what I require. The realization of my hopes and ambitions has finally come. Here comes Prince Charming on horseback. Yes, this is the right individual for you. You found your true love. This is the way you'll feel while you're in an idealized state brought on by them. They're trying to fool you into believing in a funny future. They give you false hope, so you'll keep fighting, but it's all an act. The love bombing you experience during the idealization phase is all a ploy to win your emotional and mental allegiance. Once they have it, the devaluation phase can begin. A comparison of the idealization phase in narcissistic and non-narcissistic relationships is required before we move on to discussing the devaluation phase, where neither partner is a narcissist. In the beginning, there is a striking resemblance because of the prevalence of infatuation and the allure of the situation. There's this dance going on where each partner is trying to decode the actions of the other. The two are engaged in an effort to better understand one another. Now is the tense part of the process. The two of them have something in common, some shared experience, or some other shared trait that establishes this tie between them. Which is extremely feeble, but it's close enough. What follows, though, is very different. What follows is not typical of a relationship based on narcissism. Now, returning to the narcissistic relationship at the beginning of the devaluation stage, the narcissist begins to treat the other person as though they don't matter. They begin to show a marked decrease in enthusiasm for you. Even if they used to constantly call you, they probably wouldn't return your calls any longer. Even if they were contacting you constantly, they probably weren't reading or responding to your messages. Narcissists start ignoring you. What they once praised in you is now what holds you back. And now they begin to insult you. Then they begin discouraging you. They make you believe that you are the one who is off your rocker. They've realized you're not who they were hoping for. A complete change occurs. They change into complete antithesis of their former selves. All of it has disappeared, lost all its enchantment long ago. The Prince Charming is no longer there. That link no longer appears to be active. And at this juncture, the oblivious victim begins to blame themselves, convinced that they must have done something wrong to deserve the narcissist's treatment. Perhaps I did something to trigger their reaction. Because of this, I'm being rejected. Even though you feel you never did anything wrong in the first place. Hence, I have been treated so rudely. And then you keep trying to fix things, to bring back the relationship the way it was before. Ultimately, you undergo a personality shift. You've given up on what you once held dear. In an effort to fix the relationship, you abandon your core values. And if you have a history of trauma, things will quickly get worse. Upon reaching this point, each party should learn to grow together. It becomes more obvious, and that has a significant impact on restoring a regular dynamic between you. As the first excitement fades and the passion is no longer there, the two of them enter a vulnerable condition where they can finally see each other as they truly are. They receive a glimpse of what awaits them in the next cohort. Both parties begin to feel more at ease in one another's company. They are probably not talking to each other so often anymore. They are consistent, whether they communicate every day or not at all. It seems the relationship is stable. This connection has become stronger over time, and they share object constancy. This indicates that each partner understands that there is a connection beyond the communication, even if the two parties are not actively interacting with one another. They have a strong sense of nonverbal connection when talking to one another. They begin to have faith in one another. There is no need for open demonstrations of trust. Simple fact. Understood. Simply put, that's the way it is. They can see the unseen card, but they know it's there. After establishing communication between the two, tensions begin to subside. They're not so close now, but in a healthy way. To the contrary of what occurs during a depreciation phase, they remain connected even in this separation. Unfortunately, this is not what you will feel in a relationship with a narcissist. Instead, you will feel on edge due to your heightened awareness. Constantly worrying about making a mistake and assigning blame to yourself can make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. Your self-respect, worth, and qualities would be called into doubt. Your identity would be crumbling. Because of this, you wouldn't recognize yourself anymore. Eventually, you'd give up and move inside the bedrooms. And no matter how hard you worked or how much you sacrificed, it was never enough. Too enough, and they'll reveal some of their true selves early on to keep you around. And when they do this, you might assume you've regained equilibrium, but this is just a ploy to keep you in their clutches. Moving on without the discard phase, which is something that would never happen in a healthy, non-narcissistic relationship. The bond between these two individuals in a healthy relationship strengthens with the passing of time. They might choose to start a family if they are in a heterosexual relationship. And if they do have children, their love will be reflected in them. And their relationship will become stronger with each passing year. That fades away with the passing of each month and subsequent day. They become acquainted, even though their interest in one another may wane over time. Either at the outset or the midpoint. They've become more invested in their creations and found a new way to communicate with them. In the context of the narcissistic pairing, this is not the case. Eventually, what happens is gradual. It takes years for the narcissist to drain your vitality, dry you out, and deplete your supply. Getting there is a lengthy process. Your emotions have died and you have nothing left to give. You're reduced to little more than a shell of your former self. In such a case, discarding is a foregone conclusion. When one source of supplies dries out, the narcissist switches to another, much like a parasite, even though they themselves have multiple supply sources. But suppose things went on for so long that they had to dump you, and you stayed put rather than leave. True, they do. When they've stolen everything they can from you, they're done. They can no longer rely on you. A narcissist views you primarily as a resource to be exploited for as much of their own benefit as possible. Eventually, this thing dies in their minds, and they discard it as though it were garbage. They treat you no more than an inanimate object that serves no purpose anymore. You know, there is a bond between you even if the relationship ends. It's a two-way street for sure. No one leaves you asking, well, if he was wonderful, or she was so nice, why would he do this? And why would she do that? There is no doubt in your mind regarding the identity of the person you were with, how they were made, and what kind of person they were. You don't have a split personality where each of your nice memories is kept in its own separate compartment. You have one set of good memories and another set of awful ones, and you can't tell one from the other. That's not the case, and it wouldn't occur if you were interacting with someone who isn't a narcissist. As you can see, these are the main distinctions between them. And I really hope that despite the good memories that you have, you are able to grasp that it was all a lie. From the outside, a narcissistic and a non-narcissistic relationship may appear to be very similar, but you will know the difference when you have this knowledge. Furthermore, the final destinations of these two partnerships are diametrically opposed to one another. An encounter with a narcissist may cause you to question your own existence, as well as your values and priorities in life, and your life's greater purpose, if you will. A non-narcissist would enrich your life, giving you more reasons to live and more significance to your existence, while the narcissist would only diminish it. I hope you find today's video illuminating and informative. It's important to understand the differences between a normal relationship and a narcissistic one, and how it feels to go through each step of the narcissistic one. I look forward to our upcoming conversation. Let the mending begin until then.